Alright guys, Shotty T here with an Alliance War video. This is War number 8, Season 22. We're just doing a little pre-scouting here as usual. We're playing against Stubborn. I will be posting a separate video. I did hit the 2 million mark, so I will do an account tour for that as well. And also I'll have the next Alliance War video. It's in the weeds. So right now I'm just highlighting all the suicide profiles. Once again, this is usually what I do when I first jump in. I look at the usually surround the middle areas, but try to get an idea. And now we're gonna see all the opponents that I plan on fighting. Like I said, it doesn't always come to that. Of course, circumstances can change if the war is decided before we get to the bosses. So, but I'm going to be going left side with the minis. Usually I go right side, but the lineup that I plan on bringing in order for me to at least maximize effectiveness is to go left side with the minis. So we're going to be bringing Venom and Havoc, as well as Sorcerer Supreme. So bringing her in twice in a row, starting to get more familiar with her abilities. And you're going to see one particular fight that's going to showcase it quite a bit. But this first fight is going to be a Taskmaster. So the idea is just to keep this one simple. Sometimes I like to challenge myself in certain war fights to see if I can just fight without parrying. So this is one of those fights that I try to do that. I do make like one mistake here, but again, it's just practice. You never can waste an opportunity for a fight that seems ho hum on paper. So I kind of dashed back too soon, and he caught me basically retreating. But outside of that, the rest of the fight goes pretty straightforward. So as you can see, we haven't relied on parry at all. We're just hitting into the block, inducing heavies, and sometimes if you keep a certain distance and just stand there, the opponent will just throw a heavy also. So it requires a lot of spacing. So it's small little things, and I'll probably do a video eventually, like the different fighting skills. But the main video that really goes into all the different tactics is the Dork Lessons. I mean, he has a lot of different fighting techniques, and I use that quite a bit in a lot of my fights, like the shallow evade. And of course, the reparry is something that, of course, Legacy has turned, but it was something that I had posted in a video before he made it more popular. But of course, his channel is much bigger than mine. But yeah, the reparry, of course, the dash backdraft intercept, light intercept, hidden block, induce heavy. Now, this particular fight here is a little tricky. I have to, because I'm not as 100% familiar with Hitmonkey's overall abilities, because I don't have them. The odd thing is I just pulled him as a 5-star. Very recently, like over this Cyber weekend, I just pulled him as a 5-star. So hopefully I can rank him up and eventually bring him into war. He's a pretty good war attacker. But as a defender, he can be pretty tricky. Like, he has this mechanic, if you evade him, then he has, I guess, that little purple thing that he has causes attacks not to miss from the evade. So he's an interesting evade and miss counter. But with Venom, we just kept it simple. Now this next fight is gonna be Havoc against Nick Fury. I wasted a boost on this fight last time. This time we're not gonna use a mutant boost. Plus he had suicide. This was one of the rosters I profiled. So the idea here is to well, really I can't it's gonna be tough to pull off a SP3 because this fight, when that timer runs out, if you have more power than the opponent, then they steal that power from you. So I wasn't thinking, because I think when I faced Nick Fury before with Havoc, it was on the node I just fought Hitmonkey on. So what I really forgot about on this particular fight is that he's gonna steal my power, so I can't really rely on taking out his first life, and then his second life I can just launch my SP3 because, as you see, he just shifted my power. So and obviously I don't want him to shift to my 3 bars of power. So really, this fight became more difficult than on paper. So it relied on some of those skills I just talked about, intercepting, and the thing about this node is that you can't interrupt his heavy. So what I have to rely on is him doing his second medium and just punishing that. So that was the idea there. So we almost got him dead now. I'm gonna let him hit my block with the SP2 so I can immediately go in, because I just wanted to get rid of that fight. I didn't realize the degree of difficulty that fight was, especially considering Havoc is not a stubborn attacker. If I was a stubborn attacker, it would be a little bit easier fight. And I forgot to record the 2 chord fights, or the middle. It was pretty straightforward with Sorcerer. She's really good counter with that slow mechanic. But now you're going to see her play with this fight against Killmarker, who's becoming a popular placement on this node. And if you guys saw from a few wars back, probably I think a couple of seasons back, probably when I first started doing these videos, I had a time with Venom on this node. But that's when I was first getting used to Venom. But the thing about Sorcerer Supreme is that she has this armor break mechanism, and it pops up when you're in the Fury rune. So what I'm doing here is just waiting for it to pop up, so it's there now. And right now he's slow, so as you can see that it basically ignored the evade and the not the evade, but the evade and the unstoppable aspect. So I just go right in, but as you can see, he doesn't have it on him now. So I'm just stalling. All right, so we put the armor break on him again. I meant to put the slow debuff on him, but I was in the wrong rune. And if I would have waited out just a bit, I would have got to that slow phase. So once again, this is a fight making it probably a little more difficult than what it should, but we're still in pretty good control. And at this point, the most important thing is for me to just keep the armor break active so that we don't have to worry about the reverberation damage. So now we got that slow debuff on them. So now we don't have to worry about the unstoppable. And of course we can safely evade his special and punish right in without worrying about stubborn, because Sorcerer is a stubborn attacker herself. So it just made this fight a piece of cake. Use all my runes to my advantage for healing, for armor break, for applying a slow. So just perfect. And I didn't record the next fight again. I mean, it was against Havoc. I used Sorcerer there. It was a bit of a tricky fight because the more debuffs I put on him, it gave him a higher attack. But I did use that regeneration boost to heal as much as I could, but I did lose some health that fight. And this fight here, again, just straightforward. Nothing tricky about it. I understand the placement, because you never know when that smash attack is going to prop up. So if you try to intercept, you can get punished. But even if you get punished once, it's not going to kill you. So it's worth the risk to try to get an intercept to get that passive fury. Of course, you don't want to make a habit of doing that the whole fight, because when he does charge at you, it's random when that smash will pop up. So it's not quite as deadly as trying to intercept Rhino, which is you have to basically the opponent has to be slowed to do that. And the reason why I couldn't use Sorcerer here because that slow only applies. It doesn't prompt if there's a class disadvantage. So in case you guys were wondering about that. So really, I do take a lot of bot damage here, but it's all good. I just wanted to finish the fight. And this is going to be one of many fights for Venom moving forward. I'm going to start with this MODOK. Now this fight did become a little annoying. Because I still had some bad experience fighting against MODOK on this type of node. I mean, it's good to just have someone that you can just spam heavy and that deals like damage over time or just heavy damage like Captain America or Colossus or even Archangel with the damage over time. So it's just safer to go that route, or even MODOK, just spam heavy with the incinerates. So I got a little intercept there so I can shorten the fight here. And he does have recoil, so that helps. And this his little armor is propping up quick, so it's tough to get in a full combo. And now we're using this willpower here to try to heal ourselves with this armor break, but then I end up wasting it because I get hit. So right now we're just stalling, trying to heal ourselves, basically. If we just wonder what's going on. But again, we wasted right there. We get hit with this SB1. But we're still in control of the fight. I mean, I'm just kind of buying my time here. I keep getting hit by the bottom of this SB1. It's not that hard to evade, but for some reason just struggle with it. So I get a little cheeky intercept there before I do the SB3 so I can do more damage. And now we're in Assassin's range and I have True Strike, so I no longer have to worry about the auto block. And that's the end of the fight. So it was a little sloppy, but got it done. We're just gonna go ahead and pop a potion there. I think I'll go ahead and spend 80 units, I believe, and put another potion on them, if I'm not mistaken. But this next fight is going to be Nick Fury. So these fights are going to be all consecutive fights. And this fight actually surprisingly impressed me. And this is, I'm really liking Venom more and more. But I guess, I think I had something going on. I guess I thought I turned the recorder off and then realized I didn't. But anyway, I knew I'd use that potion. Thank goodness for Cyber Weekend. Get all those extra units. I will be doing another Abyss run soon. Just need to harvest some revives, probably in like Act 4 and Act 5. So we'll be doing that over the next few days, just harvesting potions. Units wise, we should have enough for another run. And I'll have more units by the time I post the next video. So we're gonna do a little health boost here. Nick Fury Mini. So this is the node where if you nullify a debuff or nullify a buff, they gain power, but it's not really that detrimental on this node. Now, there's also Rage, but I figured I'm not gonna use an attack boost because I don't want to take away more of Nick Fury's health, and I don't want to launch my SP2 unless, well, it's a little tricky because obviously The SP2 is going to have a lot of Furies attacked to it. And then it's going to end up hitting hard where it could trigger Rage. But my thought process is I'm going to use my SP1 to nullify those power gains. And luckily, he only gained 1 Rage. So now we're in a tricky situation here where he's unblockable, but we got rid of it. But as you can see, I still had those Fire Furies on me, and it basically triggered Rage. But we're still in pretty good control here. He actually has 2 Rages. One of the Rages is in his ability, but we're going to consume it again. Boom, boom. And it's healing us at the same time. Now what it's also doing is gaining him power, because I guess nullifying doesn't only apply to Mystic. It also applies to Venom with his SP1 apparently. But this is the opposite of that Havoc fight where when Nick is in second life, you can safely parry and bait the heavy, and then and not worrying about triggering stubborn because you got a stubborn defender attacking yourself. So this fight becomes pretty straightforward, and of course I'm using some of those tactics I talked about, hitting to the block, induce heavy, because it can become very useful in a lot of situations, such as right there when Nick Fury's unblockable, and when you can't parry him, you have to hit him to the block to induce heavy or special. So next fight here, gonna be Venom once again. As you saw in the previous video, when I faced her on the regeneration node, he's just a great counter, and this one is no exception. Now, of course, she has Power Focus 1 with SP1. So she's going to be throwing a lot of SP1s. And again, the placement idea is that you're basically not going to be gaining a lot of power yourself, because every time she throws the SP1, she drains your power. But again, Venom, he's immune to power drain from tech champs. So every time she launches her SP1, I don't lose power. He's completely immune. And plus I can use my SP1 to consume her armor if necessary. And of course I'm periodically throwing my heavy attacks to make sure that she doesn't go invisible on me. Because when that timer runs off, which it just did, I have to parry and heavy, or just knock her down basically to pull it back up. So right now I'm just keeping the combo short, but she has a high limber, so I can only do like a 1-hit combo to be extra safe. But I just knocked her down, so you see she has that little clock cooldown, so during this whole time she cannot go invisible, but then once it runs out, then she can randomly go invisible. So that's why we're doing parry short combo. But now we got it triggered again, and we're in assassin's range, but True Strike doesn't counter miss. It doesn't counter invisibility, only counters evade. So this next fight, this is gonna be the last video fight, because at this point we lost the war, or basically lost the war. Like, one of our battle groups struggled pretty badly, so there was no chance that we were gonna win this one. But still wanted to go through the motions. There was an event going on with the boost, so I decided to still boost. I think we were, like I said, it wasn't definitively over by this point, but it wasn't looking good. So I still wanted to make sure I did my part to be responsible in this fight. And some of the boosts I put there really ended up not being necessary, but better safe than sorry. Again, this node, I thought Havoc would be gaining power at a much greater rate than I thought. So, because I thought at one point he was just going to gain such crazy power that he'll get to SP3. So that's the reason why I put that in a vulnerability boost. But he also had SP2 bias, so it's not that hard to bait a special once you get the 2 bars of power because of that bias. But sometimes when the opponent gets 2 bars of power, they get very, stingy in throwing their specials, so you don't want to be playing around with it. Sometimes you want to start baiting the specials from the SP1. You have to kind of treat it like you have to kind of treat the opponent like they're Hyperion in a way. But we also use the mutant power boost, and the idea there is just to shorten the fight. So right now we're gonna try to build up our prowess to 5 and then throw the special. And as you can see, the plasma that we're both applying to each other is getting willpower healing. Now, of course, the debuff I'm applying to him is actually draining his health because I have the feedback debuff on him too. But we're gonna get ready to throw the SP3. And this is gonna be the main source of damage here for the fight. And we're gonna regenerate some of that power back to 2 bars of power. Now, if I use the 200% power boost, it would have put me over 2 bars of power for sure. And didn't really feel comfortable interrupting his special with mine then. I mean, his heavy. So I decided to just play it safe there. And the thing about having SP3, once you throw it, you automatically have 5 prowess. I don't have to worry about trying to charge them again. So we go straight to another SP3 with the 5 prowess. And then we're gonna go straight into the SP2 after this, and this should kill him. And since I have 5 prowess, it's automatically unblockable. So, like I said, we lost the war. I did clean up the thing boss with Venom. You're gonna see a great Venom fight next war. But I hope you guys enjoy, subscribe, and share. Again, the goal is to reach 1,000 subscribers.